Hi there, welcome to my Trevor tutorial. In this tutorial, I will walk you through a VOD that I recorded off stream, and I'll be commentating over it, pointing out the strats, how to react to traffic, all the decision making that goes into the run, movement optimizations, everything that you need to know really. For the purpose of this guide, I will assume that you already have your game downgraded to 1.27. If you don't already, I will link the guides to do that. And generally, all the resources that you need, all the timestamps to the missions will be linked in the description of this video, so make sure you look there. Before we get to the gameplay, there's a couple things I will show you that will help you make the game run better and smoother. And I will also walk you through the important in-game settings. To start with, a lot of people experience stuttering issues at high FPS, so I recommend capping your FPS. For this I use RiverTuner. Download will be in the description, of course. It's really easy to use, you just add your GTA 5.exe to it and set the frame rate limit here. I use 140 personally. Either 140 or 120 are good numbers to cap your FPS. In the mission complications, there's a bug that can mission fail you if you have above 120 FPS. So watch out for that. That's it for capping FPS. If we open up our task manager and go to the details tab, if you don't see this, just click more details, find GTA 5.exe, and set the priority to high. After using this for a few weeks, you will have to do this every time you launch the game. After using this for a few weeks, it seems to help with the stuttering a lot. I experience a lot less stuttering in Prologue using this and just generally everywhere, so highly recommend trying this out as well. For the in-game settings, I will show you the settings now that are necessary for the speedrun. So let's start with display. You should have subtitles turned off, as having them on can delay yellow dots or cutscenes from triggering, so have that off. If we go to graphics, if we scroll down to this part, population density should be lowest. Even on the lowest settings, there will be enough cars spawning on the road for you. The variety should be the highest, so you have a higher chance of getting good cars off the road. Distance scaling should be the lowest. This removes random clutter from the side of the road, so you don't get caught on them when curb boosting or something. Also for this reason, shader quality should be the lowest. This also removes additional clutter from the road. And the last thing we need to make sure is that the notifications are set up correctly. Phone alert should be on, so you see what text messages you're getting. Everything else should be off, and this should be set to no delay. So there is obviously no delay getting the texts. Get them as fast as possible. That's it for everything that's important. I will show you some stuff that are personal preference. The thing that I can recommend the most is rebinding your special ability key. Caps lock is awful, don't use it. I recommend putting it on your mouse side button if you have it. It makes driving and brake boosting with Franklin much easier. It's so much better. Please do it. I rebinded my switch keys to F1 through F3. It's just a bit easier to reach. Not that important. And in weapon select, the only gun you use in Trevor is the pistol, so just bind that to somewhere that you like. The last thing, if we get out of here in camera, allow independent camera modes should be on to make some movement optimizations easier. I prefer vehicle camera height on high. It feels much better than using low for me, personally. Everything else here should be off, and the field of view should be on highest. There's also some important settings here. Obviously, we talked about that subtitle should be off. You should experiment with what crosshair you like the best. Personally, I use the simple is the dot and the complex is the crosshair. Personally, I use the smallest possible dot. You can make it bigger by using this bar here if you prefer that. Everything else should be personal preference, so let's get into the game. So as you can see, I put my keyboard and mouse overlay at the bottom while doing this recording, so you'll be able to see everything that I do. So let's start. First off, there obviously won't be that many interesting things happening. First thing you want to do is hold W and spam Q to take cover at the door to immediately start the next cutscene. I can skip through this, I guess. So for aiming at these dudes, you can see me, I aim at the elbow of the white shirt dude. I transition to the blue guy when Michael says don't blow yourself up. When he says self, I flick to the blue shirt guy and then down to the guard. So let's see that again. Self, and this should make them all get up as quickly as possible. Then you just spam up arrow and enter to immediately get the detonation going. Then you're gonna be holding shift and W already. As soon as you pass through the door, you start jumping. You need to miss this rubble pile, it slows you down. So when turning here, use your direction keys, don't just use your mouse to turn. You can fine-tune your movement much better with the A and D keys and using your mouse at the same time. So you'll just want to jump again here. People have troubles with this shot because if you hold right click too early, your aim can get messed up. So if you look at my overlay, I start holding mouse 2 right before I get control with Trevor, because if you hold mouse 2 too early, it'll mess up your aim and it might go in a random direction. So just easy on the mouse too. The flick onto the guard you just have to get used to. There's not much else to it. One thing I missed here is after a shot I reload my gun to have the 30 bullets. You don't want to go too fast. You're gonna risk bumping into Brandon, making him go slower. After the explosion here, I try to aim in the middle here, like in the middle of the box and the wall, so Trevor takes the straightest route to the door. It might just be placebo, I don't know if it saves time. Alright, so shootout. Strafe between Brad and Michael. I already pre-aim at this first car coming in, and let me slow this down. I honestly don't know how I get those guys so quickly every time, but I guess the way they're positioned, it just works out. So you wanna kill those two first. I immediately reload after killing the first two guys, and then you can... So the philosophy for killing the dudes in the cars is you always want to shoot the passenger first. If you shoot the driver first, the passenger will try to move into the driver's seat. We don't like moving targets inside the car. Like the car is already moving, we don't need the guy to be moving as well. So kill the passenger first always. You could do this without aiming down the sight, but I'm more comfortable aiming down sights the whole times I kill these dudes. So I'm gonna aim down, shoot passenger, shoot driver, passenger and driver, leave the two for the end. So that looks quick and easy, but the shots are pretty hard to get, and sometimes one of these guys can get hit by the second police car. If that happens, you have to adjust and see where the guy is flying off to and get him quickly. Try to conserve your bullets. You don't want to reload again after taking off your mask, so you can easily spray down these two dudes in the car. Skip this car, don't shoot them. Skip this car, don't shoot them. At this point, you might fail. The mission might fail you. There's nothing you can do about this, so just restart if that happens. I hip fired these two, again, doing the passenger first. And the order here, this first guy only has a driver. The car behind has a passenger and a driver, so shoot them driver, passenger, driver. As you're killing the last driver, you're already spamming F to get into the car. So, go through the cutscene. You can actually lose time on this drive, so I go to the right side of the road, as close to the edge as possible. If you go in the middle, you'll get slowed down. You have to go as close to the snow and the guardrail as possible here to keep your speed up. After a tractor, I transition to the left side to make this turn easier. This will require practice. You can do this turn without slowing down at all. You have to start holding D at the right time. I mean, there's no other way to go about it. It's cutscene, 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 cutscene. You're just gonna shift SD to run away immediately. Nothing special there. One thing I will mention at this title screen, after the GTA 5 logo disappears, there's a slight wait time here before the cutscene, right? So sometimes I found if I press mouse 1 at the right time, it triggers this cutscene immediately. It's a 2-second time save. It seems RNG. I don't know how to do it. So if someone can figure it out, feel free to tell me. So yeah, that was Prologue. We're done with that. So before we get into Franklin and Lamar, I will say a couple words about brake boosting. In this guide, I will not teach you how to do brake boosting. There's guides already for that. I will be calling out whenever I do a brake boost, and I'll try to say how to do them. But as a general rule of thumb, if you're brake boosting without Franklin's power, you hold S for about half a second. As a general rule, instead of just quickly tapping it, you want to actually hold it for a little bit to actually get the proper amount of boost out of it. If you're brake boosting with Franklin's power, the inputs are you want to use Franklin's ability the moment before you start braking. So you basically do them at the same time, but you use Franklin's ability first, and then you start braking. And after about half a second, you turn the ability off and stop braking as well. That generally works everywhere. Obviously, this depends on the car. It depends on the type of crest you're trying to brake boost on. It all just takes practice. Luckily, there's only a few roads we take in Trevor%, so the brake boosts for those roads are easily practicable, and if you do enough runs, you'll get used to them. So again, to properly learn brake boosting, watch where I do them and pay attention to the keyboard overlay, and it hopefully will help you get the timing down. The route that I'm about to show off in this mission is very specific. Every power usage is important. You shouldn't use your power any less or any more than I do. And by power, I mean Franklin's power. So let's start Franklin Lamar. Getting into the car, pretty easy. Turn left immediately. Stick to the left side of the road, traffic will not bother you here. Slow down a lot to make this U-turn smoothly, dodge the bushes, they can mess you up pretty bad. Here, you wanna position your car in the middle of the two yellow lines. You'll get Lamar boost every time. Power over this crest, not get airtime. Brake boost here. A powered left turn. A powered brake boost. As I said, this is all very, very important that you do it exactly like this. You want to brake early here because you're doing these 2 turns without your power. You can get little brake boosts off of these little cables here. It's negligible, but it's there. This is the stuff that adds up over time. For this intersection, there's a green car on the left side every time. He's kind of in a random place. Most of the time he won't bother you and you can just go around him. But be aware that he could be in your way sometimes, so don't just blindly take the corner. Actually pay attention. Get some curb boosts here, a little brake boost. Doing all these turns without your power. This one as well. For this section, when you go over the bumps, you want to make sure you land on your back tires. For this, you have to use air control. I will be tapping control in the air to keep the butt of the car down. Whenever you land on the back of your car, it acts as an extra curb boost and you get a little bit more speed. Just do that. At this third bump, I'll use my power. So I can my power again here to take this turn, get the curb boosts. Land on my back again. That's a tiny little jump. This is a little optimization. This bump will throw you a little bit, so just hold control, get the butt of the car down, get a little extra boost. This intersection, this white car and this car can collide sometimes and block you, but 90% of the time that won't happen. You'll take this right turn with your power. There could be pedestrians here blocking you, but again, 90% of the time there's no one here, so you don't have to worry about it. Let's show that again. Take the corner on the sidewalk, get a curb boost on the right. Take this left turn with your power, and then brake here, not using your power. You have to really manage your speed, and the way you manage your speed is you brake and you just kind of let go of W at the start of the turn, and you do something that's called tap steering. You basically never want to hold down a turning key if you're turning without power, because it will lead to spinning out most of the time. So if you look at my overlay, I'll be tapping D to turn here the whole time. And once you feel that the car is stable, you can hold W again. Complete the corner in full speed without using power in here. If you pay attention to the minimap, Lamar's blue dot is, we're losing him, but not quite. Use your power twice here. This will help lose the cops quicker. The important thing is getting to this in line with this alleyway on the right. You will lose the cops here. So look at your minimap, see where the cops are spawning, adjust accordingly. I see that there's a cop to my left turning my way, so I have to turn around and go back to this alley. This will not happen most of the time. I got pretty unlucky on this attempt, but it doesn't matter. It's easy enough to dodge them, whatever they do. So we'll just drive to Simeon's dealership at this corner. Skipping the cutscene, you want to walk outside. This will skip some dialogue, trigger the cutscene earlier. And here, there's an interesting movement optimization. Indoors, the fastest way to move around is to jump in third person. There's an even faster way. If you hold down right click while unarmed, you can do more jumps. So I do that here. I hold right click, and you can see how it's faster than the normal jumping animation. Getting into Buffalo, drive straight. Don't turn right yet because you will spook Lamar. So only drive straight. Turn right after he gets in. We'll be staying on the sidewalk here. It's safe enough. Get curb boosts and whatnot. I power pretty early for this turn and I power only once. If you power at this corner, it will mess up dialogue. So you want to power really early and then just take this turn slowly. Don't smack into the wall too hard. Lamar will freak out. Just tap the wall lightly and you will get the dialogue skip. That's it for Franklin Lamar. So starting off Repossession, let me go back here actually. You want to turn your camera towards the door, hold Shift and W. If you turn your camera where you're going, you're gonna avoid bumping into the walls or anything unnecessary like that. You just saw the warp there. So the way you do this, after the mission passes, switch into first person. You want to kind of run wide and hit the left side of the garage door, and right before hitting the garage door, you want to press F, like now. You see the F input is there, so basically press it right before you would bump into the door, and then just let go of your keyboard and you will warp in. Make sure you accept the phone call. Do not deny the call, as the phone call spawns the mission. We'll yeah, so use your power to Simeon's garage here will stop you. You're still in first person, so just run in, punch once. Punching is important to skip the dialogue.
Hey, what's up, Simeon? So good to see you. So good.
Spam a couple of jumps here and then run to the bullet. The bullet is faster than the buffalo on this section. You kind of have to feel out when you can start with your car as NPCs get in. As long as they're a quarter of the way into their getting in animation, you can probably start going, usually. Like, I went pretty fast there after Lamar opened his door. So here just get some curbs as you can, nothing really special. Watch out here, these four thingies, I don't know what to call them, don't crash into them, they will throw the bullet in weird ways, you will crash. If you have to go, I was forced to go through them because of the bus. If you do go through them, just go through them really slow. You have to slow down for the stun jump anyway. If you go too fast, you'll overshoot. Scroll up on your mouse to skip the slowdown. If needed power, there's a break boost here you can try. I usually take this wide line on the sidewalk so I don't have to slow down too much after the stun jump. Try, I don't recommend that break boost, it doesn't really work usually. So taking the route on the left side here, because we have to make a left turn onto the sidewalk. I go on the sidewalk here to avoid traffic. To make this turn, usually what I would recommend is you want to slide your car a little bit to the right and then power and then make the turn. If you go full speed, you can't really make that right turn efficiently. You can trigger this yellow dot from the left side of the yellow line. Park the bullet so it's lined up with the fence. It's not sticking out to the left or right. Alright, so we're gonna have to go and punch this guy to cancel Lamar's dialogue with him, so he doesn't stop. You have to walk along with Lamar for a while. When he said you heard that, he said, "Shit, man, play it cool." You can leave him and go to the garage door. It's important that you're at the garage door if you're further behind, some extra dialogue will trigger and you will lose like 20 seconds to bad dialogue. So just be at the garage door. Nothing special there. You don't have to kick the garage door, that's just an old habit. You can just stand there. So the shootout, okay. Pick up the gun, I press my pistol hotkey and left click to bring it out, shoot the guy in the yellow vest. And now you want to look at your minimap. There will be a guy, so the guy that spawns in the left alley, it's kind of RNG when he spawns in. And you cannot explode this gas canister until the guy on the left has spawned in. So look at the minimap. It's the red dot without the arrow in it is the spawn you are looking for. And you need to, after he spawns, you need to still wait like a second before you shoot the gas canister so he actually dies. So let's see that in motion. Shoot the one guy, wait for the spawn, there's the red dot, shoot the gas canister once, you only have to shoot it once, it will explode. Then you run to this brick wall. You want to run here, this will trigger all the enemies to spawn, so you can, after you've passed that wall, you can back up and just shoot everyone. I usually do the same order, let's see that again. So brick wall, kill the guy on the left that comes out from behind the wall. Then the lower balcony, upper balcony, left side, and then the two in the back. I always do this order, it works. And just look back at Lamar. When he unequips his weapon, you can start running. Shoot the guy off the motorcycle, climb it, and that's the shootout done. With the bike, doing wheelies is important. Always try to wheelie when you can. Obviously cannot in turns. If you're turning, hold shift to lean forward. I take a pretty exact route here as well, doing wheelies. Here, it's hard to see, but there's like a pothole here. If you go next to this pothole and wheelie, you can get a really good wheelie. It was kind of blocked this time because of the trucks. I couldn't do it. To slow down for this turn, especially because of traffic. This is a pretty exact line. Just hold shift uphill. You need to really even now, like you see, there's a truck. And he's coming exactly where I want to go. So in these situations, you have to kind of decide if it's possible to go in front of him or not. I could see that he was going slow enough, so I just went for it. And you're kind of praying that nothing hits you on the freeway. There's just not much you can do about that. Here, wheelie, get as much speed as possible. You see I smacked into the wall to make that right turn. Making the right turn is really hard, but if you hold shift and you smack into that wall on the left, even I turned into it, like I'm pressing it, you can see that. And then immediately as you hit the wall, start turning right. It makes it a lot easier. And right before you get to the yellow dot, dive off. And that's the mission. Before moving on to the next mission, I'll go back here. Instead of, this is an alternate route. This route does not save or lose time. It seems to be exactly as fast as the other route. So instead of turning left here, we can go straight forward, and we're gonna do a jump here onto the road here. So how you do this jump, or how I do this jump, is I go between this lamppost and the palm tree. Make sure you're leaning forward. If you wheelie, the curb can throw you away. So I'll do that. Wheeling, or be leaning forward. Go in between, and in between these poles. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you try it a few times, you can see what I'm talking about. And you'll land on this road, and it's pretty much a straight shot from here. The benefit of this route is you have way smaller chance of getting screwed by traffic, so I would actually recommend this route. It's pretty good. You jump off the same way. And that's Repossession. Alright, moving on to pulling favors, you want to immediately run to the right and get into your bullet. You're going to want to power through both of these fences. And use your power on that green patch of grass to skip Tanya's dialogue. So if we go back, power the two fences so they don't throw you in weird ways, and then here, right here, as the front of the car hits the green patch, power, and crash into the pole and get out of the car. This will avoid Tanya's dialogue. I run off to the side, kind of in a wide angle, to make Tanya run into the bullets. Power to start, get curb boosts, get these curb boosts, get this brake boost, really small brake boost, but it's worth it. Going on the sidewalk for a bit more curb boosts, power around this corner, and you can either just slow down without or with the power, it doesn't really make the difference. Stop like this so Tanya is close to the tow truck store, so she gets into it as soon as possible. So the way to get this tow truck up to speed is, I always do the same thing. I get like a couple curb boosts here, and I transition over to the middle, get on this curb and power. And then at this red line I power again, and the tow truck is at full speed every time. So let's watch that again. Power over that. I would have crossed over to the other side of the road here, but traffic stopped me. So just power over the curb, power over the red line, and you're up to full speed. You also at this point power around this corner on the sidewalk. You can lower your tow truck hook with left control. Should already be down. Just dodge traffic, get curbs as much as you can. Use your power right next to the car to slow down like this. Back into it and immediately hold shift to lift it up. If you don't lift it up, you will go slower. I power over the staircase. It acts as a lot of curb boosts and it is amplified by the power. And this drive back is all about curbs. I usually take this risky line on the left. I wouldn't recommend this. This buffalo could have just gone through a green light and I would have crashed into it. It's kind of a risk I'm taking for a couple extra curbs, but it speeds the truck up a decent amount if you're getting curbs. That's pretty important. So yeah, it's basically just curbs. Slow down with power at the very end. The Franklin's power amplifies braking, of course. So I dropped my car early there, so if you watch this, I dropped the car even before we get to the red place, red space. About here, I press H, and then I slow down, but I slow down in a way so the car still has space to roll into the red space. This usually gives me good dialogue. You want the "I'll see you on the block" line from Tanya. That's the one that ends the mission. Just get back into the bullet. Wait until the mission passes. Gonna go back the same way we came from to this mission. I usually go on the sidewalk to avoid traffic and get some curbs. The way you start this mission, let's just show it. You power and then crash into the fence. So this little bump throws your car, so you have to power to not fly away a little bit to keep the car grounded. And you have to go to the right of this fence, and you have to crash into not this fence, but Franklin's fence, because crashing into this fence is very problematic. It's kind of a tight turn, but it's not that hard. We'll crash into the mission trigger. take control of this fence. If after taking control of the first fence you still cannot sprint away, you can take control of this red wall too. But we're kind of just gonna be waiting. You can do whatever while Lamar arrives. After Lamar passes you, you can get into the car. Make sure you're holding like W to avoid Franklin closing the door. It's kind of RNG if the door stays open though. Most of the time it will. Though, the moment Lamar starts getting into the car, I use my power to speed up, reverse into the tree to turn around. And here you're getting curb boosts. Curb boosts, so many curb boosts. Get your speed up. Helps this van a lot to do that. Traffic can really screw you up here if there's like 3 cars and they're blocking both lanes. You're gonna have a bad time. Usually doesn't happen. So just, you know, figure out which side you can dodge this car. I see I have more space on the left side, so I went to the left side. This brake boost is a really hard one. I didn't get it perfectly there. You kind of have to hold your power longer than usual because it's a considerable change. Like this is a really elevated slope, so you have to use the power for longer to keep the van grounded, and you want to use the brake as the car is going over the bump. This is one of the tougher brake boosts for sure. So getting more curbs here to keep your speed up, and there's another brake boost right here over this bump. This is much easier, but it gives you so much speed going up the hill. It's always worth it. I usually don't use my power up the hill, only if there's cars to dodge or I'm flying in a weird way. So the way the dialogue here works, you shouldn't power at the end. Like getting after this point, you shouldn't power. If either Franklin's or Lamar's dialogue ends while you're inside this parking lot, Lamar will play his "I'm told tee up in the alley" line, and the mission can progress. Throw him back to the car. Doing the same drive but in reverse. It's quite different though. I get this curb next to the fence. Getting these curbs to also help keep up the speed. You cannot brake boost here, I've tried. You can brake boost here though. This is also a really weird one, and one I'm not good at. Cause the van will, you're fast enough where the van will get some air. You have to hold your power a little bit and then brake. It throws off the timing because the slope is weird. But it's also practicable, so just try it a few times. Try not to get in front of him though, because he'll destroy you. Take this turn with power. I take this turn without the power though, because Franklin's power slows the biker down, obviously. And we want him to go as fast as possible. Don't go too fast in this alley, because if you go too fast, the motorcycle will not rubber band. So you're just gonna sit here and pray that you don't get bad dialogues. If there's dialogue playing, you'll have to wait a little bit for that to finish. So here is scripted chase, switch into first person to run. Just follow them really, there's nothing really interesting about this. I hate climbing in first person, the animations are terrible, so I switched to third person. For the jump as well. At this point you can switch back into first person. The route isn't that important. I mean, you can see where I'm going. Being in front of D doesn't do anything. He doesn't rubber band. You just have to get to in front of these train cars. And when D gets there, the cutscene will trigger. Right, so after this cutscene is where we will attempt to push Chop. You want to make sure you don't bump into him here. So go around him in the back, stick close to the left side so he doesn't bump into you. It'll slow him down. And I recommend switching to the furthest view in third person. It'll make pushing easier. When you see him stopping to sniff, you walk into him. And you start pushing. And you wait. Start sniffing, push him again. Pushing is really hard and inconsistent. It is also something you need to practice. I don't get it right every time. He sniffs a third time. So he'll sniff 4 times. After the 4th one, you will want to go and shoot the other dog to avoid a Chop going there and doing things, and then you will push him a 5th time. If your first 4 pushes were really good, you will not need to push the 5th time, but usually after shooting the dog, just give him 1 more. And let's look at this lineup again. To avoid extra animations, you will want to line up with the train door pretty good. I usually line up my can I show this? I line up my crosshair dot with this black dot. And you also shouldn't go too close to the train car, like be a little bit far away. You'll get the hang of that too. Here it doesn't matter what you do. It's scripted when he falls over, so it's fine. This drive, it's really important that you don't use your power. All the dialogue has to play to end the mission. So do not use your power for this turns. I got really unlucky here. Usually you would go exactly where this truck is. But he stopped at a bad place, so I had to take a sharper turn. But usually you like go on the right side and get the curbs here. This is kind of unusual that I had to go on the left side. So just get as many curbs as you can to keep up speed. This turn coming up, you're gonna turn right here. While the phone is ringing, you can use your power while the phone is ringing, and it probably, like, when it's making the ringing sound, like right now. I did use my power here at the very end of it, and it didn't cancel Lamar's dialogue. So if you're slow, you can use your power there once, but then you still have to get here without the power. Brake really early here. You don't want to overshoot this parking spot. I brake on the train tracks already, pretty early. And then you're just skipping the 2 cutscenes and you're done with Chop. Starting complications, you wanna turn around immediately and head to Simeon's parking lot. This traffic was kind of unlucky. I was forced to hit those signs, but basically you just want to get curb boosts, and then you want to use your power to park. Well, it's something like this. You want to be able to park in a way to get out the driver's side door. And I move my camera looking towards the parking lot and sprinting so that Franklin doesn't close the van's door. Just spam space to get over the hedge. Go to the right immediately and get into this car. Take off here without using your power. This is, by the way, where your mission will fail if your FPS is above 120, so make sure you're avoiding that. So this is the drive. This is the route. This road you will take many times during Trevor percent and during Classic percent. So it's very much worth it to learn all the brake boosts. Here's the first one. Over this little bump. I do this without Franklin's power, because doing it with Franklin's power, you're not fast enough for it, basically. Here, the same applies. I usually go take this turn on the sidewalk, but the pedestrian was there. Pedestrian was here, I don't want to hit him. The car is here, I don't want to hit him, so I just went around. Two very important brake boosts. Here's the first one. I'll show that again. You can only really do this at the very right side of the road here, so if there's a car blocking you, you're probably not going to be able to do it. And the same applies for this one. You need to be on the right side, and if a car is blocking it, you're kind of screwed. I like taking the left side of the road here. But you could cross over to the right side if you prefer that. This intersection, so the way this works, if you're American, you can imagine a four-way stop sign. Everyone will stop, and then someone will go. If you see a car, it will probably turn left. It's a pretty safe bet. If there's a truck here, it will go straight every time. If you see that a car is stopped, that means a car from the right side or the left side or coming from straight is probably making a turn somewhere. It's a blind intersection. You can never truly know what to expect, but you can learn the patterns. Usually cars will be turning though, so watch out for it. Use the power to slow down. You can smack into the gate. It won't alert anyone. So climb up on the hedge, easy enough. Switch into first person to run faster. So doing this fast is kind of hard. I'm gonna flick your camera to the left and then flick your camera to the left again for both climbs. As long as you're in the correct place, you can just spam space and Franklin will just climb. As soon as you get control after the getting in the window animation, tap control to get into sneak mode. Hold W. When you get to the stairs, you can hold shift to sprint. You will not alert anyone. The moment I get into the car, I press V to get back to third person. That's important, and then immediately press F. And here, I will show the alternate route for this mission, known as the backdoor strat, whatever you want to call it. It's for new runners, I do not recommend this at all. It's stupid. It's stupid hard, but I'm gonna show it because it exists. Instead of going straight as normal, you're gonna turn right here. You take a different route to the house and get brake boosts in this intersection to speed you up a little bit. I missed most of those, but don't mind that. So just follow this route along here. Turning right here, we're gonna head to Michael's backyard. There's a brake boost on the right side, right where this truck is. I couldn't go for it because the truck was there. But there's a few, there's like 4 separate brake boosts in this entire intersection that you can hit. So just practice that, get up to speed. I'll show this in full speed first. Jump, bail. This wasn't a perfect jump by any means, but it did the job. So let's look at that again. I get 2 brake boosts in the intersection, back to back. 1, 2. I get up to speed. So this pole, you wanna come from the right side of the road, angle yourself to the left, and barely miss this pole right here. And you wanna dive out of the car pretty early. If you enter Michael's garden while still in the car, the mission will fail. You have to bail out really early. So, brake boost, right side of the road, angle left, barely missed the pole, bail out, and yeah. This saves, done perfectly, this saves about 10 seconds. That's really hard. So you can decide if you'll go for it or not. And you just climb up the back and it's the same things. So video should transition back to their drive. Yes, very good. So after you got into the yellow car, you want to spam F to make Michael, to spawn Michael early. Right after you get in the car. You will not be able to use your special ability here at all. This entire drive, you will have to do without it. There's a brake boost right here. Let me try to show it off. It's this bump where my mouse is. It's hard to show, but there's a brake boost there. You can get that every time you exit Michael's house, pretty much. This intersection, it's pretty important. A lot of the times you'll get bad traffic here and you have to adapt. On this first part of the intersection, it's usually fine. The second one, there can be cars coming from the right or the left. And if something's coming from the right side, it's a safe bet that they will be turning right. So you can dodge to the left lane, like in between here. This is also just, after a lot of runs, you will feel out the patterns for these intersections. So let's go back a little bit. Doing some brake boosts. Brake boost right here, because there's a little dip. There's one right before the... right here, right before the wide arrow. Those are a couple of really good brake boosts that give you a lot of speed. You can brake boost over this bump. So you'll have a lot of brake boost speed here. So for this left turn you have to slow down. And you really have to pray on this left turn that there's no one there. If there's someone here, you're kind of screwed. If this car was like slightly bit more forward, you would kind of be screwed. It's important to manage your speed in a way where you don't spin out. This is why it's important to use your brakes. You have to avoid spinning out at all costs. Drifting is almost always bad. And for the last part, get curbs. And do this brake boost in reverse, even though I missed it here. Go to the left side of the road to take the right turn, so you get a wide angle. Stop yourself on this yellow dot. Make sure you slow down completely by the time you hit it. If you roll too far forward, the game will respawn you here at this other location. You want to stop early. Just turn left immediately, drive in, and for the fight, you will want to hold Shift and W and spam mouse 1. And it's hard to tell, but I'm moving my mouse ever so slightly to the right. Like, you look at my cursor, it's going like this. Like I'm moving really slowly to the right consistently, and it makes Michael not be able to push him, and you will get consistent smacking like this. If you hit the car, it's kind of unlucky, but that's just something you deal with. But that ends complications, so that's it. Moving on to father and son, everyone's favorite mission. You're gonna want to bring up your phone immediately. Go left to quick save, spam enter to save your game. I open my menu by pressing P. It's faster than pressing escape. Click on game, click on load game, spam enter. And now to perform the save warp, you want to hold your Franklin switch button, which for me is F2, as you can see on my layout. Just hold that button. until the loading screen disappears. And then you can go back to holding W, spam enter, skip cutscenes. You're gonna want to bring up your phone and do the sleep mode tutorial as you're running here. So in the settings, profile, sleep mode. You don't put on sleep mode here, you just enter the menu to get rid of the tutorial that happens there. Alright, father, son, everyone's favorite mission, I'm sure. Turn to the right, we're gonna run outside. Don't run too close to the corner, stick closer to the right wall. This ensures that Franklin doesn't get stuck. Get in the driver's door. You can hold W. By the time the car starts, Franklin will already be in. So this mission starts off with a difficult drive. I have a pretty set route. I go on the left side and I cross here to get the curb boosts. I always go on the right side because there's a brake boost right there that you can hit right now. Getting curbs, getting speed, another brake boost, another brake boost right down this little hill. This car really likes spinning out, so apply tap steering and slow down if you need to. Usually there's always cars stopped around here, so I usually dodge to the left side and then immediately cut back to the right side. Just taking wide angles so I don't have to slow down too much, basically. There's another little brake boost you can get right here. And now you need to get this left turn right. You need to, at this point, be close enough to the boat where Franklin starts climbing out. You're gonna want to brake for this turn. A slightly bit, probably. And you need to not spin out, like, you can hear my car almost spinning out, but you need to just hold it. After Franklin starts climbing out, I let go of W, wait until I hear the car shift down a gear, and then hold W again to speed up. I'll stick on the left side of the road, and you did it correct, you will catch up to the boat. Franklin will make it on somewhere around the tunnel entrance. And here at this point, don't go full speed. Make sure you don't go full speed. As you can see, I'm tapping W, I'm keeping my distance from the boat. If you go too close to it, the boat will rubber band away from you. So, yeah, you want to have Franklin throw off the guy before this off-ramp. You're still kind of just tapping W and not going very fast. Shoot this guy when they have fought for a while and Michael said his voice line. If you kill him too early, it can kind of softlock Franklin for a little bit and lose some time. So just wait till they struggle. Wait till they get to the left side of the boat, then you can start shooting him. Still tapping W, still going pretty slow as you see. Waiting for Jimmy to come out. As Jimmy comes out, on this little bump, I go close to the boat to rubber band it away a little bit. And as Jimmy gets flung to the side, I will speed up, start speeding up. This is a timing that you have to get used to. You want to be able to shoot the guy, and then you have about 3 to 4 seconds to pick up Jimmy to not get Franklin's long animation of climbing up. So I start speeding up like slightly after Jimmy gets flung to the side. I aim my gun, I wait, and this guy is invincible as well for a while. You need to wait until he's almost thrown Franklin off the side before you can shoot him. Which is why the timing is really important in when you speed up. you need to be going faster than the boat to be able to catch Franklin in time. It's really delicate and it takes a lot of practice, but if you do it like 300 times like me, you'll get it every time, don't worry. And yeah, so Franklin has already climbed back up, and you can, after shooting him, so optimally you'll collect Jimmy before this white truck. And yeah. Not going full speed to not rubber band the boat away, you need to wait for Franklin to be on the back steps. So to manage your speed so that you get there the moment Franklin also gets there. You can take the off ramp, hit a brake boost, and then hit another brake boost here, and head to the mod shop. So this part is dialogue dependent. So when he says my fucking boat, the yellow dot appears. So you want to position your car. So if you look at the minimap, right? This whole part you're looking at the minimap. You want to... So if you go too close to this, if you go too close to the mod shop, the trigger, the yellow dot will disappear. If you back up a little bit, the yellow dot will appear. You want to position yourself in a way that the yellow dot is appearing, but if you go forward an inch, it would disappear. So you can see me like going back and forth, trying to get my positioning right. At least you still got a sun. And when Jimmy finishes saying, at least you still got a sun, you just tap W, enter the trigger, and you skip Franklin's voice line. So yeah, just adjust your positioning. After sun, you tap W, and you skip the dialogue. And press or spam enter there to skip the mod shop tutorial. And the inputs for this is scroll, E, enter, escape. So, so you scroll, which will bring up a prompt to enter the customs, which is why you press E. Then you repair the vehicle with enter, and that's all you need to do. You can just press escape. So scroll, E, enter, escape, and you're out of there. Very simple inputs. And all we have left to do is a pretty... it's a pretty hard drive. At the beginning, all you can do is get these curb boosts. So you're just curb boosting for a while until you get to this road. Stick to the right side because traffic is pretty bad. I usually power over this bump to not fly away and crash into something. Here, so you see there's this opening into this parking lot. Sometimes a car from this lane will turn left the moment you get here and crash into you. Just be aware that that can happen. Since you have a lot of speed here, I power twice on the sidewalk to make the left turn. I kind of messed it up here and hit the pole. You don't want to hit the pole, but power twice, 1, 2. And then power twice here as well. This will set up a brake boost right here. I hit the pole, so I was too slow to get that brake boost. And then it's the usual drive brake boost here. This brake boost was blocked, so I couldn't get it. But now it's just the same drive to Michael's house that we have done before. The last thing to do is gonna be dialogue skip. After getting in the fence, I kind of just hold W and smack into the wall and hope that it works. It's kind of inconsistent, but that's what ends father and son. Just go and smack into the thing and hit the yellow dot. That ends father and son. Starting marriage counseling. During the mission pass, you should walk back towards Michael's house. You see this line on the ground. You should line yourself up a about as far as I am right now. Do not be any closer than this if possible. We're gonna switch away to Michael and back to Franklin. When you spawn here, if you're too close, the mission will despawn. This is a good distance I've found that works. So hold your Michael switch button. When Jimmy's text comes in, you can switch away immediately. Michael will always be in this taxi. Once he gets out, you can switch right back to start the mission. Run in third person, not in first person. Third person here is faster. Yeah, this will start the mission. We'll hold Shift and W. If you hold Shift and W while getting in the car, you will get in quicker than normal. There's a brake boost right up on this bump that you can hit. Watch out for this tree. This tree's this branch's hitbox is deceptively large, so make sure you don't go too close to it. You can hit this lamppost dead on, and it will be fine. Just make sure you miss the tree. Some couple of curb boosts. There's a brake boost at this intersection, and I will show off the harder way to do this hill climb first. You have to slow down a lot, get in behind the tree, and go up. It's really hard. It's really hard, so let me break it down. If you approach the hill too fast, the truck will lose grip, and you won't be able to make it up. So for this reason, you'll see me slowing down a lot. So the first part of this strat is you slow down before you turn. Then you use the tree as the baseline, and you turn in to go behind it a little bit to the right, and then turn back to the left and go up that way. I'll show it off one more time in full speed. So slow down, go to the right of behind the tree, go back left, go up all the way, and after you see that you've hit the trigger, just let the truck come to a complete stop, and you come up here, hit the trigger, so stop. That's the hard way. The easier way of doing this is like 7 seconds slower or something. So you'll go past. So this is where we would turn for the hard strat. You go past until this big tree. So you brake, and we'll just. The only thing hard about this is you cannot hit these wooden poles. You have to go in between them. And you just drive to the trigger. So, brake. Don't go too fast because you'll spin out here as well. To make sure the truck has enough grip to make it up. And make the small jump. That's about it. That's the easier way. The easier way is what I recommend to new runners, because the first steeper hill climb is much harder. Get into a truck, hold W, we can skip through this. After skipping the cutscene, hold A and S to back up, and bring up your phone, and just have it up. Just have it there. What you want to do is hit this wooden thing at an angle, so you can go right through it. If you hit it straight on, you will kind of get stuck on it, so make sure you're at kind of an angle. Hit the brakes going down the hill, so you don't go too fast, and smoothly make it onto the road. Still have your phone up. You'll have your phone up till the end of the mission. You don't have to worry about it. The second part of this strat is you will hold C, your look back button, and you will flip your camera around. This is what I do when I get to the road. Whenever you feel comfortable to do this, just do it. So hold C, flip your camera around and move your mouse around just a little bit, because the game will try to automatically flip your camera the other way around. So holding C and flipping it around, you've tricked the game into giving you 360-degree vision. The enemies cannot spawn in your vision, but since you see everything right now, technically, because you're looking back, they won't spawn, and you just drive right back. The drive itself, I suggest braking here before the hill. Don't hit the hedge, don't hit this lamp because it'll screw you over, and brake before the downhill part so you don't overshoot Michael's gate, and just hit the trigger and you're done. You're all done. That's marriage counseling. Alright, so starting friend request. You will be forced into a phone call with Lester. There's no way to skip this or hang this up, and you will be forced to walk until you hang up the call. What I do is I look up on this road. There can be cars or bikes parked here already. Most of the time there won't be. So I start walking towards the freeway, but I look up at this road. If I spot a bike, I will use Michael's power and shoot him off. If you don't see a bike, just run to the freeway. I turn my camera around there to help despawn traffic and spawn new traffic, because I don't see a bike, and I want a bike really bad. That's what you want. And I was lucky enough to find a Hokuchu. This is the best bike you can get here. So I was lucky enough to find it here. So what I can recommend for not getting run over by traffic is never shoot. Try to avoid shooting. If you stand in front of the biker, he will stop. He will never run you over. So just walk up to him, throw him off. Never shoot him, because shooting him will freak out the drivers and you will probably get run over. So avoid that if you can. If the only way to get a bike is to shoot him, that's fine, but try to avoid that. So you will receive, skip this over, but you receive Friedlander's call. You can hang it up immediately, and 5 seconds later you'll get Amanda's text. And after that, you're gonna wanna put your phone in sleep mode. I did this really fast, but you can see I'm bringing up my phone and putting it on sleep mode. I use my mouse to control the phone. Middle mouse button opens it. I use scroll to move around, and left click, right click. That's how I use my phone 90% of the time. I recommend learning the muscle memory for that. So, as for this bike drive, you're kind of just, you want to wheelie all the time. If you're on a bike, you want to wheelie as much as possible, so that's the fastest way. While you wheelie, you cannot turn as well, so if you need to turn, just lean forward. And once you know you can go straight, you can hold wheelies again. So just follow the route I'm taking. You can kind of go over this curb. You don't need to like go around on this road. You can go over this curb. I don't recommend going to the right of this pole because you can get thrown off this bike, but going to the left of this wooden pole is fine, just like how I do there. And slow down, make the turn onto Leicester Stairs, and the cutscene will start. Make sure this road is very bumpy here, so just slow down early so you don't get thrown by the pothole a little bit. Entering Lester's house, walk, jump and bring up your phone to skip most of the cutscene. So jump, bring up phone. I just press space and then press middle mouse button or up arrow, either works. It skips some dialogue. You'll walk back outside. Don't run down the stairs because that's slow. Jump down, get on your bike. You can get blocked by a truck or a car going across this intersection. You'll probably want to dodge it to the left. And same thing here on the freeway, nothing special, just wheelie as much as possible. Even if Michael isn't doing an actual wheelie, leaning back is still faster than leaning forward. And slow down a tiny bit to jump off the freeway here. This is better, a little bit faster than the old route we take. You can just go straight, avoid the traffic. I go on the right side because, you know, going up the left side there is like completely blind, so try not to go that way, stay on the right side of the road. Then you can switch over here. Brake really early, stopping to the clothing store, because some bikes have really shitty brakes, so you have to stop really early if you don't want to overshoot. Yeah, just get off, sprint into the clothing store. For buying the clothes, stand at the right side of these shirt racks. Once you buy the shirt, you will get teleported to the other side of this rack, but on the right side, so you're really close to the shorts that you have to buy afterwards. The inputs for this are just E, enter, escape again. You just buy the first thing, E, enter, escape, buy shorts. This is kind of a strat that I always try and doesn't always work. You can take cover at this bench immediately and walk out a little bit faster. It's not the most consistent thing, but you can play around with that. So you enter escape, go until you go to this until you see buy shorts. You don't want to buy the pants, you need shorts. You just go back out, jump to the bike, get on it. This part of the drive is really difficult. I start off by going to the right side of the road again, as it's safer. But on this part, when the road bends left a little bit, I will cross over to the opposing lane because it is technically shorter. And you see how this intersection is built up. There's a left turn lane, there's a straight lane, and there's a right turn lane. And there's this, if you have a driver's license or something, you know what this is. Cars can't go here. I've never seen a car in this space with the white lines. And since this is a kind of a downhill part and kind of blind, I wouldn't go in any other lanes. I will go in this lane where nobody can be for sure. And wheelie down the hill, and the left side is more or less safe. I stay in between here because cars from this lane where the jester is, they might turn right. So I wouldn't stay at the leftmost part of this road, but the middle here is completely safe every time. There will always be a car turning right here, but you should be fast enough where you don't need to worry about that. The yellow dot will stop you, and you will climb over the wall and get in the door.
I'm turning consultant when we release.
There's completely nothing special about this part. You should be in first person. I kind of forgot here, but you should be in first person, being inside here. Yeah, I remembered here. This is mainly so you can take these corners efficiently. Third person movement is not this exact, but I just hold W the whole time and move around with my mouse to take the corners as tightly as possible. Clicking the pop-ups, I always go from top right to the middle to bottom left and then up. It's kinda... The way I click these is exact. I always do the same route. And by the time I get to, I think this pop-up, the poker one, is when there's an RNG one, so let me try to... I did this too fast. So this... I'm sorry to point it out, but it's an RNG pop-up and it could be anywhere. It's either in the middle here or it could be in the top right, I think. So just try to react to it and click it as soon as possible. If you do all the pop-ups fast enough, you'll skip some dialogues, so... good to do that, and then you just spam click to where the OK button will be.
And that should do it. Why don't you try and keep things strictly
The rest
safe
is
for
also
work?
just movement, nothing special. Take the corners as tight as possible. There's nothing you can do to go fast. It's always true though, in first person, just do not press A or D, like ever. It's bad. Hold W and move with your mouse. And don't get stuck on the wall like I did there. So there's actually a mistake here. I start going to the right, and then I realize you have to actually go to the left here. So in Trevor %, we go out the left side because we will getting on the suit with a different method later. So we will go out this door, run down the stairs. Don't try to climb over here, it won't work. Go down the stairs and get on your bike and drive back to Michael's house. What's also important here, that you should open up your phone and close it to clear the text message that's on there. I failed to do this in this recording, but just bring up your phone and close it. That's all you need to do. So the text message doesn't mess you up later. So I parked the bike here in a way that after this mission passes, you will come back out and drive this bike again. So I park it in a way that I can just get on it and drive it away out this way next to Tracy's car. So just don't like park it in the door or something, and don't drive it in either because the mission will fail. So just get off the bike, run in and spam D during the cutscene to change the channel immediately, and you're gonna sit here for 1.5 minutes or something like that. So let's skip through this. If you tab out during this whole part, the audio and video will get desynced and you won't know when to bring up the phone. So normally if you don't tab out, you can bring up the phone after they say dock, 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 dock. Then you can bring up your phone. So here I bring up my phone and the text is still here. You don't want that to be there. That's why on the bike part back you bring up your phone and clear this. But the way I do it is just go into contacts and scroll up 4 times. And J North is there. That's the easiest way to do it for me. Then he blows up. Michael takes his sweet ass time to stand up, and you're just gonna wanna sprint outside. Jumping here isn't worth it. First person isn't worth it. Just run out in third person. Get on the bike, which is parked perfectly to drive it out fast. Turn around on the... Make sure you go onto the concrete part of the sidewalk, because if you don't go too far, the mission will not spawn. Just turn around like how I did, and crash into the concrete, the part that sticks out. Just crash into this. The mission will start when your vehicle comes to a stop, and this is the easiest way to have it come to a stop. When we enter Daddy's little girl. Entering Daddy's little girl, you want to go down the stairs in first person, and you want to see this, whatever white thing is on the ground. You want to run around this, and get back into third person before you get in the car. They'll make it so Jimmy runs into the car, and you can start immediately. Just run straight around the white part, third person, get in through the passenger door, and you can just hold W and Jimmy will most of the time make it in already. This was really, really bad RNG coming out. So this is a usual traffic pattern. When you come out of Michael's gate, there's probably usually going to be a car turning left here. And I don't know what this guy was doing on the road, but it was a perfect recipe where I couldn't really avoid crashing here. but it's just something you have to deal with. So I dodged to the left side of the road there because so having two cars here stopped already means that you kind of can't really fit there. And I spot this truck coming out from the left, and I know if I try to go on the right side here, the truck will hit me. So I make the heads up play of turning left and taking this side of the road. It's unfortunately less brake boosts here. I already explained how to brake boost on this part on complications. You can do the same brake boosts with this car. Do one there. So this is just this is also a tough intersection. Cars here have a tendency to skirt over into the left lane. So if you try to go in between them, you will crash. So I pretty much always go on the right side of these cars to avoid the chance of that happening. They never turn right here, so you don't have to be worried about that. And this intersection is just awful as well. There could be cars coming from either way. It's kind of RNG. Most of the time you'll be fine though. This part is going to be the same as the way I did on Repossession. We will go on the sidewalk. There's always a car weirdly like kind of on the sidewalk. I would prefer going on the road for this part, but then this car is blocking your way, so the sidewalk is better. Also watch out for these people on the sidewalk. They will pretty much always be here, but you can dodge them by going on the curb a little bit. So, on the sidewalk, make the turn, make sure you miss the yellow dot. You don't need to hit this yellow dot. And park about in the middle of the bikes. You kind of have to go close to the bike rental guy, which is why I run in the middle of the bikes instead of running straight to the yellow bike. Full disclosure, I still use the race bike. I don't do the BMX strat. I will link the BMX strat in the description. I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it, so I'm teaching you this strat. But the BMX strat saves a lot of time, so it's worth learning. So that being said, as you take off, watch how far Jimmy is. If you get too far away before Jimmy gets on his bike, you will lose him and fail the mission. So just make sure he's on before you get too far away. And then hold W, hold space. Holding space is important, it makes you faster. As you can see, I'm spamming caps lock. The thing with this, if you spam caps lock too fast, the faster you tap caps lock, the more stamina you lose. So you want to find a rhythm where you don't tap as fast as possible. You can kind of see from my keyboard overlay how fast I'm tapping. Tapping a little bit slower doesn't lose you any speed, but it does save your stamina a little bit. Space makes your turning ability worse. So when you're making the turns here and up onto the pier, make sure you stop holding space and make a tighter turn. And yeah, just try to go as straight as possible without hitting pedestrians. There's not that much to say about this part. At the end here though, the yellow dot can stop you, but that's slow. Stop yourself. You want to be stopped. You want to have yourself stopped. Like I'm already slamming on my brakes here. This is about where I start. Past this potted plant, if you're stopped, the cutscene will trigger. So just stop earlier. The yellow dot stops you kind of slow, so it's a little optimization. Dive in third person. Diving in first person is weird and bad, so don't do that. Go into first person to swim underwater when you see that you have lost enough air, or you would about to start losing health, just get to the surface and swim like that. If you managed your stamina wall, you will start losing health. Your health doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much health you lose or have at the end. You can have full health and it would be fine. At the end, you will switch into third person to climb up the ladder and enter a pretty hard shootout. I'm not consistent at this, so the way I do this, I don't go full speed, I hold control the whole time. So holding control, leaning back is the fastest way to go. But during the shootout, I don't hold W because I don't want to get too far away from them. Getting these headshots is hard enough as is. I have trouble with the shootout all the time. One thing to note, always shoot this guy who's on the right side because he can speed past you really fast. So make sure he's taken out first and transition to the other guy. This needs to be practiced and it's hard. The shooting is... It can feel like you've hit him in the head 5 times and he just won't take damage, so... You just go to the shore, nothing special here. And you've ended Daddy's Little Girl, easy as that. Before we can move on to the next mission, casing the jewel store, we have to talk about text message routing for the next 2 missions. So, after you finish Daddy's Little Girl, these 3 texts and these 2 phone calls you can possibly get on the drive to the next mission. We will... the only thing you need is Martin's text. If you don't get Martin's text, Carbine Rifles, this text here, won't be able to spawn. So, we will be putting on sleep mode. We will get rid of these 2 phone calls entirely. You don't need to worry about them in this category. On the drive to casing the jewel store, you will receive 2 out of these 3 text messages. These have equal chance to come in, so it is possible that you will not get Martin's text message. If you do not get this message, it's a 20-second time loss before Carbine Rifles because it will give you Martin's text and then Lester's Carbine Rifles text. But if you don't receive Martin's text as your first 2, you'll have to slow down and wait for Martin's text. This way, even though you got bad RNG, you will only lose about 10 seconds. This is the gist of it. Now let's see how this applies in practice. After Daddy's Little Girl, you're gonna want to bring up your phone. This is something that you cannot do every time. If you cannot bring up your phone, just wait until you gain control with Michael and you'll be able to bring it up. Spam your quick save icon, save as soon as possible, load it and do the save warp. Save warp works the same way as it did back on Warping to Father and Son. So, a lot of things are about to happen. I'll show them full speed first and then we can break it down step by step. It's going to be a lot of fine inputs that you have to learn and do accurately and fast. So, we are going to run up the stairs, call Franklin for a hangout. This is the first step. We will hang up, run into Michael's bedroom, and change into his suit. The old strat was failing on friend request to get into your suit, but since we don't do that anymore in this category, this is how you get your suit on. You're just gonna press E to get into this menu, down arrow once to suits, spam enter, and then escape out. Then you're gonna immediately put sleep mode on, then you're gonna get a text, and then you're gonna switch away to Franklin. So, a lot of things happen there, so let's go through that again. When the loading screen disappears, you let go of F2 and you hold Shift S and D. This will start turning Michael to run up his stairs immediately. When you spawn at Michael's house, bring up your phone, scroll down to Franklin, left click twice to initiate a hangout. As soon as the call connects, you can hang up. Make sure it connects though. Don't hang up while it's still dialing. Then you're gonna immediately go get your suit on as fast as possible. Just the first suit option is fine. Then you're gonna bring up your phone again and put on sleep mode. You have to do all of this really fast. If you don't do it fast enough, you will miss the text message that appears here. You can see in the left side, we just got a text message. And I only had like a second and a half to spare. So if you do it slower than this, you will lose time because of the text message. So, all this is necessary because the hangout will warp Michael away from his house, but we needed to be in his house to get the suit on. You need the suit for casing the jewel store. So, we'll switch away to Franklin. When you spawn as Franklin, you're immediately gonna switch back to Michael. We'll put him in this car, right in this position every time. And we're gonna drive to the mission. And this is where my explanation about the text messages comes into play. So we waited for one text. We have one text already. In my case, it was Martin's text, which is really good. It's really good RNG. On this drive, we will get one more text. And also important to note, you get one text every 20 seconds. So we're gonna do this drive. There's a couple brake boosts, but you're just gonna want to avoid traffic. Traffic is really bad. So we got another text message. So we have 2 out of the 3 that is possible to get. At this point, you will want to call Franklin again and cancel the hangout. If you don't cancel the hangout, it puts another text message into your pool where Franklin will complain about how you abandoned him instead of hanging out. So you need to call him to cancel that. However, calling someone takes sleep mode off, so you have to turn on sleep mode again before you start the mission. That was a mouthful, but this is sort of a complicated section because of this. But this is what you have to do. In this case, I got Martin's text message, and I had the Los Santos Customs text message. So Lester's email about the stock market is still in the pool. So after casing, when I start Carbine Rifles, I will either get Carbine Rifles or I will get that email from Lester. However, if the 2 text messages you have received at this point is this LSC one and it is Lester's email, then that means you still have not gotten Martin at this point. And that guarantees a 20-second time loss before Carbine Rifles. So for this purpose, if this happens, you're going to want to slow down and stop about at this white right arrow on the ground. You just want to stop, put on sleep mode after calling Franklin, and you have to wait until you get Martin's text message. This will cost you about 10 seconds, maybe a little more, but a guaranteed 10-second time loss is better than a guaranteed 20-second time loss, so it's worth doing. But anyway, yeah. That's the part driving to casing, and now we do the actual mission. Don't park like I just did there, where you block the door.
The hell is this place?
Garment factory. I needed a job that
Let's get into a mission. Go up these stairs in first person. You want to be in first person. And this time you actually want to get into the car staying in first person. Being in the car will switch you back to third, but when you get back on foot, you will still be in first person. This drive, leaving Lester's, you always want to get these curb boosts on the right side of the road. And there's 2 brake boosts. There's one brake boost at this little black thing right next to the curb, and there's one right at this pothole. So 1 brake boost, 2 brake boost, and then you get back to curb boosting. Nothing special, you'll stay on the right side of the road, get curbs. If you want to be risky, you can go for this brake boost on this red line. But it's really risky because traffic can be in the way. But the brake boost is nice, so I go for a brake boost right there, and another brake boost on this red line as well. We continue on getting curb boosts, keeping our speed up. This is the usual drive from now on, brake boost here. Nothing too special. You're gonna have to brake for this turn a little bit to get it smoothly. And then the 2 brake boosts here could be blocked by traffic again. And the hard part of this drive is the sliding into the palm tree. So how I do this, let's show it on full speed. Very smooth. So how you do this is you want to go as close to this curve as possible and as close to this curve as possible with the palm trees. And you wanna, as you can see, I'm already holding WD in space. I already start sliding here. So when you get to this, about this yellow line, this yellow area, you should transit. Look at my input overlay, WD in space. Jam into all 3 at the same time. And slide right into the palm tree. I recommend that you watch this a few times and try to replicate it. What's interesting about this is you don't have to press F to get out of the car. When your car comes to a stop, you will be warped out immediately. If you press F, you will probably just warp back into the car. So try just don't press F at all. And hold, you can hold Shift and W to immediately be running as you get out of the car. Run in first person. Don't run straight to the store because there's a slowdown trigger. Instead, run close to the slam, switch to third person, and you're gonna want to jump right before getting to the slowdown section, which is about here. At this where the sidewalk bends, you probably already want to jump. You walk into the store. It's important that you can skip some dialogue here if you take the picture early enough. If you try to take a picture while your model is already outside, Lester will not like it. You have to actually walk into the store, but you have to barely walk into the store and immediately take the picture to get the dialogue skip. It looks something like this. I didn't get it there, so that's awkward, but that's the principle. I probably took it slightly too late, and the way to take the picture is make sure this keypad is on the picture. Like if this keypad is on the left side of your screenshot and you can generally see the whole place, then your picture will be fine. Then you just walk up to the lady, nothing special. Here I will get a jump off the cutscene, I think. Yes. So there's a very tight timing there. You can get a jump out of the cutscene. It's like a 1-frame thing where your timing just has to be absolutely perfect for it. I hold Shift and W and I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. As the cutscene starts fading out, you press space. It's kind of something you have to learn. I don't have a reference point, really. I don't know what is my reference point. It's kind of just muscle memory, to be honest. But that's something to practice as well. As you get out, get back into first person. The car will be parked the same way you left it, so just run up to the rear of it, press F to warp in. Try not to run over people here, you can get cops easily. To get the warp on these boxes, you're gonna want to do another... You don't use handbrake here, but you will slide your car to the right. So you see I'm kind of driving my driving line is I'm taking a line that would go on the curb, but at the last moment I will slide it to the right. So I slide the front of the car right next to the boxes. This can like slow this down. Slide. Just I don't really have advice for that either. Just watch it with the overlay. Here you will press F to warp out. I don't know if you need to. You probably need to. Press F to warp out. You'll be in switch to third person, jump twice. That's faster. Switch back into first person again to run up the stairs. Third person to climb up the ladder. That's the fastest method. Spam space here to climb up onto the ledge instead of climbing the ladder. So movement in this game. If you're indoors, you want to do jumps. If you're going on staircases, you want to be in first person. If you're climbing on ladders, you want to be in third person. And that's about it, I guess. So that's why this is the way it is. You're indoors, so you want to jump. But on stairs, you want to be in first person. And on ladders, you want to be in third person. And once we get outside again, you will want to be in first person again. Because being outside, faster in first person. Climb straight. Stay on the left side of these cables here, or whatever. It slows you down if you walk on it. Press space to jump onto the higher part, and then I drop down to the lower part first, and then drop to the even lower part. If you drop straight from the higher part to the lowest part, you will stumble, which is slow. Do it like this. First person onto the ladder again.
Hey, I see the vents. Yeah, I'm looking at the relay.
And here, before climbing, you will have to bring out your weapon twice to actually bring it out. You want to bring out your pistol to do a bit of a skip. You want to climb here. This is... People struggle with this, so let me try to explain this. When you start the animation of climbing, let go of your buttons. So Michael settles, and then press W and space at the same time. If you're holding W, he will just walk off. You have to press W and space at the same time to get him to jump. That's how you get the jump. And you just turn right, climb both, and you have your gun out right now. So as you're climbing into this vent, you'll want to aim your gun towards where you want to take the picture. That will immediately turn your camera there. And it saves turning your camera manually, basically, because you do it before the cutscene. And then you press D to just fall off to the lower part. And again, you have to jump. You have to jump here before reaching the edges, otherwise Michael will just climb down instead of jumping. This whole movement part here is pretty tough to get right, but it's easy enough to learn. Then you just and on this part, make sure you're climbing over the railing and not over the concrete part. If you climb over the concrete part, you will die. So make sure you're climbing over the railing. There's a very small chance that you will take 90% damage instead of no damage, which will be a mess for Carbine Rifles, but most of the time it's gonna be fine. You just first person back to your car and warp back in. And warp in through the back, as long as they're close enough.
Let's go back to the garment factory. I called ahead and told him to start
Drive back, pretty straightforward. There's one brake boost here at this white line. You get curbs crossing over to the other side. I usually take this corner on the sidewalk. There's one pedestrian here somewhere on this sidewalk that you have to avoid. There's another brake boost at this median here. Dropping onto the freeway. On the freeway, you'll just grab these curbs. Nothing much else you can do. Curb boost, curb boost, curb boost, curb boost. For this last jump, this jump through the right might be blocked by traffic, but if you get lucky like me, you should approach the turn from this left lane and do a really wide angle turn so that you can keep most of your speed. Make sure you're dropping down onto the correct lane, as cars could be stopped at this intersection. You will crash into them. Land on your back and take the last turn into Lester's factory smoothly. You want to keep your car pretty much straight. Don't slide it or anything. And then in spam, so this is actually something you can save time on. Spam enter going through the first cutscenes. You can select the approach with your scroll wheel. So when you're getting close here, just start scrolling up. And then spam enter and mouse one at the same time. It actually selects everyone quicker if you spam both buttons. So spamming enter, scroll up, and then spam both enter and F1. Or mouse 1 rather. And that ends casing the jewel store. Ending casing the jewel store, you wanna stay in first person and walk down the stairs. Get into your car. There's a bit of a transition here because I did this mission from a different save file. But point is, Franklin's call is gonna come in. You're gonna wanna hang that up immediately. If you're not already in sleep mode, you should put sleep mode on here. And take the route I'm taking here to the freeway. It's pretty straightforward. Make sure you don't slide off, let off the gas. The grass is slippery. Get onto the freeway. Don't worry about the Amanda text. The save files I did this from was bad. This text you get before friend request way back when. If you did everything correctly, you should either have a 50-50 chance at getting Carbine Rifles text, or you'll have a 100% chance at getting it. If you don't get it first try, 20-second time loss, not the end of the world. Stop your car about at the shadow, where the shadow starts under the bridge. Wait for the text to come in. Waiting, there it is. You can start going immediately. Make sure you don't go too fast. As you can see, the prompt for the mission has already popped up. If you're past this white arrow, the truck will not spawn. So make sure that you're not going too fast. Go on the side, park again where there's this sunny part. Stop your car before it, get out of the car. I run here, I take out my gun. I move my camera to be behind me, and I'm running with Shift and S. So my preferred way of doing this strat is letting the truck come really close to me and then starting shooting at them. If you let the truck come really close, it will always dodge to the right side into the barrier here. If you shoot it while it's further away from you, it will dodge to the left. That's kind of bad because traffic, you can get ran over and stuff. So we will prefer that it dodges to the right side, and you can achieve that by shooting it really late, as I do here. It's basically almost next to me, but see it dodge to the right. So the driver's door, a really good spot. I start off by shooting the passenger at the front and then trying to take out the two guys in the back. If the driver has gotten out already, you can shoot him as well, but you have to leave one of them alive. It doesn't matter who, you just need to leave one of them alive. The last guy you shoot him in the body. I shot him in the body. There's a passenger, guy in the back, driver. Shoot the guy in the body twice, and we're off. Straightforward enough, I think, but there's a couple things I want to mention. The truck can get stuck in traffic which means it will come slower and it will be harder to make it dodge to the right. If there's really bad traffic and the truck gets stuck, you just need to wait for it to get closer to you. It's kind of so where this yellow line sort of breaks. I don't know if it's a textured glitch on my specific settings, but you want to shoot the truck after you're past this break in the yellow line. So if the truck is stuck in traffic, you kind of have to wait for it to come close to you, and it's probably going to be hard to avoid it dodging to the left. Okay, shoot it. And one other important thing that I do here is the cops and the helicopter will spawn the moment you start driving the car. So for this reason, as I'm getting into the car, I'm going to flick my camera to the left where I need to go, so I have the whole highway in my view. And this should hopefully prevent bad helicopters and bad cop cars from spawning at you and seeing you. So if I slow this down, see, before I'm even in, I've moved my camera to look over here. This prevents the helicopter that spawns up here. It can prevent the cop that spawns here, the cop that spawns up on the freeway there and comes down here. It should work. This is a kind of new thing I've been trying, and it's been working pretty well. So I recommend doing this. So, yeah. After you shot the last guy in the body, just flick your camera towards the highway. And that should prevent all the bad spawns that you can get. Usually a cop will spawn coming on the freeway. As you can see, it's this guy with the big view. You can just dodge him by waiting here. Just wait for his view to pass, and then you can go straight to the end of the mission. One other thing to mention before moving on is if you got a bad helicopter spawn, it still sees you here. You can stop in this little tunnel and lose the helicopter here. You'll probably want to stay here for a long time so the police get attracted to this location. And after waiting like 20-30 seconds, you should move on to where the mission ends. So this is where you would stop. You can lose the helicopter in here as a backup. But hopefully that doesn't happen if you did everything correctly. So I stop on this. I put my front left tire on this thing. But I think it's pretty lenient in where you stop. And you just spam right click or spam backspace and you will cancel the phone call, thus ending the mission. And that's Carbine Rifles. And we have made it to the final mission, the heist. As you load it into the cutscene, switch into first person, run down the stairs. Before getting into the van, get back out into third person. You'll want to honk your horn. I think honking the horn once is enough, but you can hold it as well. That will make the other guys run into the van. You can take off. I use my power twice to get around tightly around this corner. And then you want to get curb boosts, a lot of curb boosts. And if you listen to the car, I use my power the moment the car shifts up a gear. So let's listen to that. Shifts up, power. This gives you a tiny amount of extra speed. I do it again there, the car shifted up again. I'm continuously getting the curb boosts. Shifting up with the power there twice enables us to get the brake boost on this red thing here that we got on casing as well. You won't see skid marks, and it will be a pretty minor speed boost. Not as much as you would expect from a brake boost, but it's considerable. You see I'm going pretty fast. So those brake boosts are good to go for. You can get another one here with the power. get around this corner as usual and get the usual brake boosts. We have done this drive plenty of times, so you should know this. This cutscene, just drive straight next to this palm tree. This cutscene is instantly skippable, so spam mouse 1 to skip it. I shoot the first 2 display cases. It's a good idea to move around between the cases holding right click. It makes the movement much smoother. And I shoot these 2 cases. I combat rolled over to this one. But instead of combat rolling, you want to jump. So a lot of things happen again, so let's watch that, but like slow down. So shoot the first 2 cases. Always take these same cases every time. Some of the cases, oh my god, this audio. Some of the cases contain more money than others, so I'm taking these specific ones because these ones have the most cash in them. Shoot that one and that one. It's important to shoot this one in advance because you'll be jumping to it and thus cannot shoot. I mess up here and combat roll instead of jumping, but that's acceptable, it's fine. Then turn around immediately, shoot the last 2 cases. Again, right clicking to move around, and then right click to position yourself in the middle, jump twice to get out faster. Alright, so this drive, you cannot go full speed. As you can see, I'm leaning forward, not leaning back, and I take a wide turn at this intersection. This is all done to ensure that I'm not losing the crew. So let's watch that again. I'm leaning forward, I'm not taking optimal lines, I'm taking slow lines on purpose. Once you've turned into this intersection, this road, you can start wheeling and going full speed for a while. Dropping onto the freeway, just wheelie as much as you can here. Should be fast enough to beat the bus that's behind you. You're still going full speed, this is okay. We're taking this route, we don't want to go down and take the intended route obviously, because that's slow. We're gonna manage our speed the whole time, so we stay technically close to the crew by being above them. So you're gonna want to turn around these yellow lines. Here, you can pretty much go full speed here. That's okay, because you have to get back onto the freeway anyway. Gonna wheelie here. Here you need to cross over to the other side of the freeway. This is where you will stop going full speed. About here, you'd start. You shouldn't even lean forward. Just hold W. Don't do anything else. You want to go slow here because we have to wait for the crew anyway. Slowing down for this. If you notice at the bottom left corner, the blue dots, they are completely visible. That means you're safe to jump down into the sewer. If they're still flashing or faded out, that means you are going too fast. So you shouldn't jump down yet. Wait a little bit if you need to as well. It's not the end of the world. And once you've jumped down into the sewer, you can go full speed. You will... well, you shouldn't lose them anyway. So the point of this whole drive was... don't go too fast. That's pretty much it. And you'll be fine. You go down to the sewers. Smacking that wall is unintentional. It doesn't really matter what you do there. Driving this truck, it's also possible to go too fast and fail the mission. You dodge these cops by going up to the side. Here, when this shadow starts, or when the sunny part ends, I will let off the gas. I will step on the gas again when that same shadow ends. So, let off the gas, press gas again. This slows you down enough to not lose the crew and fail the mission at the end. And from here on out, it's pretty much a straight shot. Go over the river here. There's a scripted slowdown if you stay on the flat part, so for this reason, you go onto the slope on the right. to avoid the slowdown into the yellow dot here. So see, one of the bikers is falling through the ground. This is a 10-second time loss. I don't know what causes this. I don't think anyone knows what causes this. But they fall through the ground. You can look here. He will fall through the 4 in a second. There he goes. There's a bit of a time loss. I don't know how to avoid it. It just happens sometimes. And now we just have a very short drive left. Watch out for this tree branch. It also extends out pretty far and you cannot fit under it. So just take a... Just go in between the trees really and you will avoid the branches. Traffic can be silly here, so just avoid it to the best of your abilities. If the traffic works out, you should go on the sidewalk instead of going around. There's pretty much always cars stopped at this intersection. And they usually block you from going on the sidewalk, so you have to go around. This time I had enough space to go on the sidewalk. It saves a little bit of time. And then make the final turn. Slow down for it because the Benson doesn't turn very well and you can crash into either Lester or the fence. And that's not good. Just slow down for the final turn, let off the gas if you need to. And you've completed Trevor %. Congratulations. Yeah, I guess that's about it from me. I hope I did an okay job explaining things. This is the first time I do a tutorial, I guess. I've never done something like this before, so hope it helped at least a little bit. If you have any questions, look in the description, everything will be linked there. If you have more questions, something I didn't explain, feel free to DM me on Discord or anywhere. And if there's enough interest, I'll consider making a full Classic Person guide as well. So, thanks for watching. Bye.